All right. I would like to start this video off by saying that I will address bigger things that well, not bigger, but like channel oriented things at the end of this. But right now, I want to talk about small introduction and then get into the video. My name is Hoodie. That's who I am. My full name is Jonathan Hood. I do not need to like actually volunteer this information, but that's where the name Hoodie comes from. It's my actual nickname in real life. I don't know why people question this. Anyways, I would like to talk about a lot of things. But along with the introduction, I'm going to volunteer a little bit more information. I'm obviously black. You see me. Box, haircut, skin color. I'm an African-American male, unfortunately, in America. I'm a pro-Palestinian. I care about human rights. I do not have a political party that I align myself with because there's no point in doing such a thing. Do you know these political parties suck? I actually do sound nasally today. My voice isn't actually that deep. But a little bit less on that and a little bit more on this. All right. So I have for you today a rabbit hole that I put myself in, and I would like to talk about what I think is probably like the most problematic in America, which is probably the concept of white fragility. You've probably heard other people hear about this, but I will go deep into that concept after I look at this, read this, and contextualize it. So this video is with Coaches because I like Coaches. So this all started scrolling. I like Coaches. I seen the video with Coaches. I dropped a comment on the video weeks ago. This 3 hours is a screenshot after I took, I did it at like 8 in the morning, maybe 8 p.m. I don't know. I don't know when I did, but it was 3 hours before 11 on whatever day this was. So this white guy, he's kind of a comedian. And Coaches was like, oh yeah, name top 3 black people, being funny. Candace Owens is valid. He said Candace Owens, and Koji side-eyed him. So you can see it from a woman with pasty makeup. If you zoom in, which I think I can. No, I can't. The more I zoom in, the less it becomes about whatever the hell I'm trying to actually access, and the more it becomes about things that I do not wish to show you. So, like my personal information and people that I've talked to. Anyways, point being, Candace Owens, I do not think she's a valid black person as a black person. Why do I not think that? I will get into that. Just let the screenshots go. No, she is not, I say. Repeats this by saying that millions of other people watch her podcast. This guy says, yes, she is. I'm going to go ahead and stop right here. I will come back to this right here. I will come back to this right here. This is what he looks like. Okay, back to what I was saying. So, I say she used BLM as a scam. Now, people are going to misinterpret this as me saying that she scammed and profited off of BLM, which she did. I do think that Candace Owens did profit off of BLM and used it and make the movement look dumb. Now, could I have worded it better? Yes. This was my first time ever trying to debate somebody based on my opinion on anything on this platform. I said she made the movement look stupid, said all lives matter, which is a conservative take. She basically undid all the progress made in 2020 and solidified black efforts as a joke or violent by not making the movement constructive at all. Because she herself made herself seem like a spearhead, a leader of the movement, and then disengaged with the rest of the leaders of the movement and proceeded to start saying conservative nonsense and making black people look stupid, ignorant, and violent. I will not be told by a white person who is not a valid black person and who is. I said that wrong. I read that wrong. But basically, I'm going to say, hey, I'm black. You can't tell me who's valid. I'm black. This is about my people. No hate, though. Ignorance is all a thing. Always a thing. I guess that right there just set everybody off. Let's go ahead and go to the third picture. Outside of this, I'm a nigga as well. She is valid. Anyways, I might have got pissed off right here. Just a little bit. 10 out of 10 rage bait. And let me cut some music on for you. 10 out of 10 rage bait, bro. If you're an American, I'm actively fighting for your rights, which is true. While you dilly-dally around and fling the N-word despite having a public account and being clearly blonde. If you actually think you're black, it's defined by appearance and not a drop of DNA like it was in the 19th and 20th centuries. If you refuse to have a genuine conversation or just look up how bad she is for all of us, good. Have a good day, and I seriously hope my work fixes Petri in I'm nasally sick Sorry, this is bad. My first time doing this. Have a good day, and I seriously hope that my work and the work of others fixes this country. That I will come back to that later. 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 All right, I'll come back to that later. All right, nope, we'll come back to this first. All right. So I'm gonna have to go back here. Let me. I think I missed a screenshot. He says something slick to me, talking about some blah 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 blah. Anyways, I actually have to let him do this first. So there's blonde Africans. Might to read up on a couple of things before you. Oh yeah, and who is actively uneducated and invalid. My opinion is uneducated and invalid. He proceeds to pull out an AI, ChatGPT. Notable accomplishments of Candace Owens. Co-founded BlackSig. Encourages Black Americans to think independently and consider conservative values. Beth? Do I have one more English stutter? One more lisp? One more slip up? Gonna have to get rid of me. Anyways, best-selling author. Oh, Blackout. New York Times bestseller. Selling over 500,000 copies. Popular podcast host. Hosts shows like Candace Owens Show, Candace on the Daily Wire, and discussing culture and politics. She's a public speaker, speaks at events, colleges, and conferences across the country on political and social issues. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He never even looked up what he was talking about. He did this by using an AI. Former communications director at Turning Point USA. Promoted conservative ideas among young people and students. When is this good? Challenge mainstream media narratives. Let's go to the next one. Right here. Gain attention for calling out media bias and encouraging debate on hot button issues. Advocate for free speech. Strong supporter of open dialogue and the First Amendment, especially on college campuses. That's actually a good thing. That's actually a good thing she did. That's not wrong. If she did that, that's cool. Influential social media presence. This is about what she's done for Black people, by the way. These are notable accomplishments that make her a valid person. Apparently being popular makes you... Mind you, it said she was popular in 3 different ways. I said it, not him. He told me to make 5 reasons, not based on my opinion or feelings, when I already pointed out that she's an asshole. She's a fucking piece of shit. But I'm not here to talk about Candace Owens independently. I'm here to talk about multiple issues encompassing America as a fucking country because it's so disgusting. Anyways, I'll go back here. Right about. I gotta go find the screenshot because I don't know when I said anything. That's the last thing I said to this dunce. Oh, right here. She made a fool of BLM. This is true. She literally made us look stupid. She made BLM look like a fucking joke, and she's a piece of shit. She did do this PragerU video. False explanation with slavery. Never, ever, nowhere in here that I call her an apologist for slavery, but it is slave apologist behavior. Scam billions out of the movement, which is true. She made a lot of money off of the movement. She made a lot of money off of grifting. I could have avoided this better since scamming isn't exactly what it did, but I'm pretty sure she also stole funds from Black people. I will go fact check this stuff right after this discussion because it's important for me to be correct and not wrong while talking on an internet platform because my presence matters. Touted all lives matter, which is nonsense to contradict BLM by making it seem like Blacks only care about themselves rather than saying that BLM was to make a statement to speak up against Black suffering, not to make us superior. She is a homophobe. She's a conservative. Retains a platform, does no social justice, or has done any call to action. She has not ever called for a ceasefire, to my knowledge. She has not ever spoken up for the Congolese, not ever spoken up for the Sudanese. With the platform that she has and the shit that I say, if I had her platform, we would probably have more people doing more for these people who are dying, by the way. You honestly want me to say based on feelings, right? When I gave evidence beforehand, being a slavery apologist, and here's what pissed someone off. An apologist for slavery means that you're defending the concept of slavery by bringing up another argument that discredits the horrors of chattel slavery in some way. If it doesn't draw the fucking line for you, which you don't care about, by the way, you just want to be right and right. You're a grown-ass man. I then reiterated that he's not a fucking nigga because he's not black. This is what this blonde piece of shit looks like. Sorry, I'm getting a little angry. Let me lock in a little bit. That's about Trump. That's about Trump. I gotta go to where the fuck ever. Boom. Let me reiterate that being blonde or African does not make you black. You're not getting caught a drug dealer or a cotton picker because you're white. You're not being unjustly treated because you're white. You even have the privilege to pull AI out of your ass, ignore everything I said just to prove an idiotic and wrong point. Because you're white. You have the privilege of getting away with saying a slur and hiding behind the internet because you're white. Go ahead. Use African, a term for a continent, by the way, because an African is someone from the continent of Africa, to justify your clear lack of phenotypical, biological, physiological proof that you're black. Phenotypical means you look like it, by the way, just in case somebody was unfamiliar with that term that I learned in freshman year of high school. But if you were somebody who's just unfamiliar with it and you're not an asshole, this is not a shot at you. It was just me pointing out that this is, to me, basic knowledge. I will now transfer into looking at what other people said to me, and I will break this shit down. I will do this on my browser too. I won't fake anything. Your reiteration is invalid considering legal historical context. One drop rule this fucking dumbass brings up. Mind you, if he read what I said, if you actually think you're black, it's defined by appearance, not a drop of DNA. Do white people even read the bullshit that they complain about? Pretending to be oppressed is not being oppressed, and shut the fuck up. Don't talk about victim mentality because this idiot will. I will go back to what I was trying to say. I'm getting hot, like, actually, because this is stupid. This is dumb. I hate the way that people think, and it just pisses me off. All right, cool. I said I already talked about the one drop rule. You made me feel hopeless. Great job. Now, I did disengage with him by actually feeling hopeless because it was such a dumb conversation to have. Why did he say this? My reasons are wrong. They're all opinions. You bought your shit off of AI. AI will lie to you if it wants to. I won't talk about Trump right now. He's actually not what I'm pissed off about. So, again, this is more about Trump. We're not going to talk about him. All right, let's talk about religion. Let's talk about religion momentarily. This will all come back together in the end. You can skip to a timestamp. I'll actually give you a timestamp by the time I'm done reading through all of this and editing this. They reject God. I'm not gonna edit this. I lied. They reject God not out of reason, but out of pride. For to submit is to admit they are not the author of their own truth. Man would rather sit on a false throne than kneel before a true king. I'm an atheist. This deeply offended me. I paused there. It didn't actually deeply offend me, but I do want to talk about it. Because it offended me enough to talk about it. Yes, nigga, I don't want to submit my entire life in truth to another nigga I've never seen before in my life. Yes, bro. There are Muslims praying to Allah right now, which, by the way, is basically the same concept as the Christian God. And they're not getting anything. They are dying still right now as I speak. If God is real, bro, people would not suffer. I know this is an argument that Christians hate, but if God is all merciful, omnipotent, and all-knowing, he would prevent suffering that is unnecessary to a group of people. You can teach somebody a lesson without putting them through literal hell for generations and leaving white people to never pay the consequences of the assholery, the evil that they commit on this planet. It is possible, especially if you are omnipotent and omnipresent. You have the power to control everything, and you refuse to make people better because it would forsake their goodwill. My fault. Free will. That's a stupid argument. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. I'm gonna go back. All right. I don't even know what this is about. I think this is about somebody getting called the hard ER while debating Charlie Kirk. I will not talk about my opinions on Charlie Kirk, as I do not like him. He's a conservative right-winger, and I don't like them. I do not like them. I don't have a reason to like them. I will not explain why I don't like them until, well, actually I will. So I will. It's gonna happen eventually. So he doesn't have a single period in here. This is a long run-on sentence with one identifiable, two identifiable. Oh no, he actually just has one long sentence, right? My bad, he does have a little bit of punctuation. It still doesn't matter. Bro, 2025, just let it go. Why are you so focused on what happened in the past? This is about slavery, by the way, and racism. You didn't live, I'm just saying our country isn't corrupt, but blacks are also significantly more violent than whites, which is not true. According to numbers, the numbers aren't racist. Another thing you need to look at is 90% of black schools are, another thing went to 90% black schools. I can't even read this, like this nigga's like run on sentence, but it's my fault. I'm gonna lock in. That's my bad. This is a personal issue. I gotta lock in a little bit more. Drug interactions and people are getting into blacks almost 100% of the time. Almost 100% of the time. And if it was a black person, it's not about race, man. It's about culture, bro. It's black fathers not wanting to stick around. Who taught you this? Sorry, I stuttered a little bit trying to read this nonsense. Look, man, I love you, man, but every time because God doesn't want to hate them, hating or anyone, just racial divide, blah 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 blah. I'm actually just gonna shut up because this is making me look very rude. Columbus, Georgia, and besides the amount of shootings I see and hear about, they're insane. So yeah, when I see a black dude acting sketchy, I get defensive. But when I see a white guy, I do too. Just because Columbus is a bad place. Oh, the city he's looking at. So yeah, Columbus. And I would not trust my kid over there, dude. All always mattered, bro. School, quit playing victims and stop killing people, bro. You in particular, bro. But you know, of course, blacks are the minority, contributing to the majority of crime, bro. It's sad, anyways. Fuck this loser, by the way. Just letting you know. I don't know why I tried to be nice to this nigga when I responded to him. But first of all, black people are most likely to get arrested by violent criminalization, which is a small amount of criminalizations. It's still 50% more likely for black people. This is recent. I have my sources for this shit. So crime rates, 69% of crimes are committed by white people. Even if you wanted to talk about violent crimes, they still do it. FBI crime rates. Men of all races commit a disproportionate amount of crimes. This is true. Men are just scientifically, they're just more likely to be in violent situations. That's just for all men. It's just a fact of reality. This experience is a mob hate crime. This guy's getting caught the N-word, the hard ER, not just the N-word. Hard ER multiple times in a debate against Charlie Kirk because the audience doesn't like him because he's black. Which means he's literally getting hate crimed, by the way, which legally means he was the victim of a criminal offense. Victim mentality, please elaborate on what that is. Is it that black people think that they're victims all the time? Is it that they feel victimized by hate crimes? Elaborate on that buzzword you're echoing, thanks. And I added a Z, I missed time. So I'm saying. Yeah, not one living person felt that slavery. Not to say that they didn't deal with racism, but oh, so many black people on black crimes. Y'all just kill each other with the media puts us against each other. We gotta shut the hell up. See this right here? I was trying to be nice because it seems like he's just misinformed. But even the misinformed piss me off. All races kill each other disproportionately. Look it up. That is true. I get that you're trying to work with black people. That was the dumbest thing I could have said in my life. But maybe you're a good person. You just have to stop using conservative rhetoric. Most of it is straw manning and a lie. But you think decent enough, so I hope you have a good day. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. I try. But anyways, let's go back. Let's backpedal. I'll take it a step further. Blacks are by design placed in red or yellow areas. This is redlining, by the way. When blacks move to a green or suburban area, or just affluent area in general, whites move out. This is called white flight. They sell it at low price and low property value. And then the neighborhood after that it just decreases the property value. Until roughly like 60 years ago, out of the 300 of this country, by the way, we were barred from public transportation. Whites had it as soon as it was made. As for voting, we only got that 60 years ago as well. And it seems that it became that's actually like half true. It's half true. We solidified the black vote with Lyndon B. Johnson. But we also got the black vote with the 15th Amendment. You can interpret that either way. It's either 130 or 60 years. Around approximately. Anyways, that's still fucking too long. Because white people got it the moment the country was founded. We weren't free until 170 years ago. Civil rights was a mere 60 years old, a 60-year-old's life ago, because it happened in the 60s. Analysis. This is just explaining redlining for the person. So why do I do this? Right? Why do I keep going through this? That's actually not relevant. I will not actually talk about Trump or Republican values in. All right, this pissed me off. I won't say that. This guy claims that the Austrian was correct. He claims that. I have to reiterate that this guy claimed that because I don't believe in that. So Israelis aren't Jews. They're colonizers who profit and pretend to be Jews. This is true. Even if they were Jews, no people deserve to be genocided ever, because this is about a hate crime. They threatened to sexually assault a woman of Palestinian descent in a hate crime group. Now, most people misinterpret Jews and Zionists to be exactly the same. Zionists are quite literally just Nazis in a different font who pretend to be Jews. Sorry. You do not need to condemn any group of people though to a point of genocide. That's immoral. It's ridiculous. I don't think that's okay. All right, this next one. We're all done with black people at this point. White people said this. White people think that they're victims of black people bullying them in this country. Drags us out of our tribes, enslaves us, force us to repress our culture, steals said culture, plays victim. This is all unscripted, by the way. I don't know what that's from. Don't worry about it. All right, this one is about a white woman trying to defend hate speech as a First Amendment right. She's right though. How do I support racism? All right, let's go ahead and get to my point on that. So free speech is fine. Hate speech is bad. That's a kindergarten lesson, by the way. All right. Supporting hate speech against a race is racism. That is correct. In saying that the racist is correct for wanting you to be racist, you are, or to wanting to be racist, you are in fact supporting racism because you're supporting a racist for wanting to be a racist. It's not racist to say a literal slur, he says. He makes a good point. This is a white guy, by the way. It's racist to say a slur as a person who isn't the target of the nor group of the people who were subjected to discrimination because of said word. Therefore, I'm saying if you're not a nigga, don't say nigga. If you're not Hispanic, don't say words directed towards them. If you're not gay, don't say words directed towards them. Basic human stuff, right? But, you know, I don't go around screaming the word cracker, and that's not technically a slur. Somebody's going to question that. I'm going to go ahead and elaborate on that. The origin of the word cracker came from them being able to crack whips. So it's an action that they did to persecute other people. It's like calling the police the popo, basically. But I'm not going to call white people that because I respect humans, and they interpret it as a slur because for some reason, you know, that is a slur. But the N-word is okay to say. It's fine to say it. Nothing wrong with that. All right. It's not racist to say the word. Now, this pissed me off because he just started using multi-syllable words to make himself seem correct. I'm going to break these words down and make this nigga look stupid for no reason because I can. It's not racist to say a word. That makes racism idealistic and mystical, completely divorced from reality or context. This liberal thinking is the same metaphysical worldview as the ruling class. Metaphysical means that it's literally not physical. So it's material. It's not real. Worldview is just the interpretation of the world. That's simple. Liberal thinking. He's trying to call me a liberal. Never said I was a liberal, but okay, thank you, buddy. Liberals like to talk about making change and don't want change to happen. They're comfortable with people suffering. I'm not. A lot of people aren't. I don't know what I can do to stop it. But I'll talk about my actions so far to add ethos to who I am after this. But anyways, let's talk about racism making it idealistic. He's making it idealistic, meaning that like it's not real. I'm basically hyperbolizing the term. I'm making it more dramatic than what it is. Mystical literally means mystical, fantastical, something that's not real. He's saying that saying a slur that has racist implications to it is not racist, and me saying as such is making it fantastical and making racism look like a joke. He's saying that a slur used to oppress people of racial descent is not racist, and me saying that is unrealistic and mystical. The ruling class is an idea that It just basically is trying to say that those who are in power with the most money are the ruling class, as they make people hate each other. I will now read my response to this. Racism isn't an ideal to pursue, it's systemic. Saying a word out of pure hate is racist. This is true. It's not divorced from reality when it's a simple fact. This is true. I am not a liberal. I'm just not an idiot. And there is a ruling class, the billionaires, who circulate money and can give money to people and refuse to do such things. The ones who divide people with one another. Ruling class people like to see us fight. I would like to go ahead and point out, I don't actually hate people offered. I have no clue what thinking you have, but I'm not willing to argue with someone using an AI-generated picture of a bull on the concept of racism. My profile picture at this time was of an original art piece I created with these two hands. Would you like me to get proof of that? I'm gonna stop. Another response to my argument. Hold on, I got interrupted. Okay, never mind. It was something funny. But we're back. So because BLM wasn't a movement, this is false. BLM was a movement. The point of it was to bring awareness to Black suffering through hate crimes, make them happen less. BLM protests were violent. Movements don't have protests. Is that what we're saying here? Because a movement, in order for a movement to actually be a movement, it needs to have protests. We did not. Whatever. We had a lot of peaceful demonstrations, but they refused to acknowledge that. By the way, racists stormed the Capitol on January 20th, 2020. Was it 2020 or 2021? Whichever day. It's probably 2020. 2021. Right? They stormed the Capitol and destroyed it because they were mad that their president, who's now our president, I'm not gonna call him our president though, their president did not get elected. Remember that. All right, anyways, back to what I was saying. A lot of BLM protests were violent simply because of the protesters. It's simply the idea that race matters more than other, that we need to band together to make one movements focus on the specific race. That in itself is racist, homie. I'm super white. This is a love letter to me. I'm super white and my girl is pretty Black. In life, the people I choose to be around don't acknowledge color. I never said that I did. I said that BLM was supposed to acknowledge that those who suffer because people acknowledge color was a movement to defend them. That is exactly my claim. I actually reiterated that in 3 different fonts, but no matter how I frame it to make these white racist people, because this is a white guy, you can see it in the picture. Oh wait, sorry. This is a white guy, you can see it in the picture. No matter how many times I explain it to these people, they refuse to acknowledge this as fact. These assholes don't care about what they're saying. They just hate Black people and refuse to acknowledge that because they're ashamed of the fact that they're racist, but don't want to admit it because they would much rather lie to themselves than admit the fact that they are horrible people and try to reform. Sorry, got out of my element. Anyways, they're trying to call it BLM racist. Anyways, let's go ahead and go right here. In nature, mutt breeds are stronger than pure breeds. Less heart problems and less genetic defects. He's trying to say that we're meant to procreate. I actually agree. We pass genetics through having sex with species that are the same and have the most survivability. This is natural selection. The traits in which are most desirable in a human for procreation for a male usually includes a large penis. This does not matter for what I'm about to say next, because everybody can have a big penis. But why did he bring up procreating? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. What was the point here? I didn't say we couldn't have sex with white people. That was never the point. I didn't even talk about sex. He's just horny. Grown ass man in my fucking comments being a fucking freak. Anyways, let me continue. Cool. This one's pretty long, buddy. God forbid Black people get together to stop racism. Also, my nigga, do you get a license to ride dick the way you do, bro? Oh my lord, this was 3 weeks ago. And at this point, you're still wrong. Do me a favor and don't reply to this, because if you do, I'm not going to go back and forth with you. You saw me smoke the holy shit, stutter of doom, the chat GBT using obviously white, thinks he's black, motherfucker. And watch this idiot word, bro. Watch that idiot word, bro. Basically, I'm telling him watch that fucking mouth. Oh, because I'm not done for being right. Oh my fucking lord. At the end of the day, this debate comes from internal or circulated racism that you're subconsciously ignoring or perpetuating. I actually just made this point earlier in the video. Rather than being on my dick about defending black people, how about you make it a mission for people to never defend one specific race and push for equality? Unless you're a billionaire, racists don't even care about you. Forget a race war. People need to look at the 1% and beef with the... Sorry, I said that wrong. The class disparity and beef with the 1% who profit off of this nonsense. If you read this fully, do your own research, research that goes against what you think, and sort both sides out to confirm for yourself. Be a free thinker, not a racist, because you were told that black people were the problem, and question your reality. Stop trying to argue with niggas on a handheld computer. That's what I was being hyper specific about that phone. All right, oh, it's the same screenshot. We cool. BLM was never financial. I don't know who said it was. Hold on, let me go find that right here. BLM literally scam people. It was a stupid movement. All lives do matter. No lives matter more than others. People keep thinking that BLM is a black supremacist movement when it is not. That's stupid, but whatever. No lives matter more than others. The BLM riots resulted in 3 billion damages across cities. Hey Google. $2.7 billion. One day. It took them 1 day to do all of that financially. I will actually go ahead and look at another source because I saw like about 2.3 million. I wouldn't contemplate that as well. We should say shit. Your property damage. They did this much. Let's say they did only this much. They did this in 1 day. Do you know BLM spanned across a year and a half? They did this much damage in 1 year. They did nearly 1,000th of the damage that they claimed that BLM did to the country in 1 day. 1 day. Right? And we can see 30 million, which makes them do 1/100th in 1 day. A lot of them say 1.5 million. Let's go ahead and say they did that. Maybe 1/2000th. Over a year, they did that in a few hours. Negro took years to do it. White man did it in 1 week. All right, let's go back to this. He doesn't fall victim to the bullshit. That victim word, I'm gonna come back to it. Don't worry about it. All right, let me go ahead and read my responses to this. BLM was never financial. Actually, hold on. Let me go ahead and get my sources real quick. Hold up. All right, I'll read this in a second. But anyways, all lives do matter. BLM was the assertion to include black people in that. It's not about black supremacy, and whoever told you that was trying to make you hate black people, or maybe even yourself. Look up opposing sides to what you believe. I basically the same thing I told the last dude, right? Basically, fact check yourself. Race wars are and all the BS people believe in are made to separate and divide people, divide and conquer. Our government does not care about all of us or any of us. Divide and conquer. If we spend our time arguing with each other, right, when we realize who our actual enemies are. Everything I said was part of a teaching moment, which is true. I never not once inserted an insult to these people until they insulted me first. Remember that. Never did I once use a slur that didn't belong to my people. The guy you're defending, who replied to my comments, did. Victim mentality is a term simply to convince you that those other... Oh, shit. Here's my explanation of victim mentality. Victim mentality is a term simply to convince you and others that those who suffer weren't trying hard enough or vaping about it and never presented the idea that they never had a chance to believe it. I mean, again, to begin with, right? Question your belief system, think for yourself, and have a great rest of your day. Notice how I'm disengaging with these people in the most polite way I can. Some of these people are the most hateful pieces of shit I can think about, but a lot of these people don't respond. Now, this was today. This is what made me want to make this video. Candace Owens didn't scam BLM. That is technically my fault. I want to see if she did. I'm going to go ahead. Did Candace Owens scam with BLM? So she has a documentary but she exposes herself in it allegedly. Let's go ahead and read that. I just want to look at the source. I'm gonna go ahead and read this like without my browser, but I'm gonna go ahead. Oh my God, she talks about Kanye West and how he's a fucking piece of shit. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, hold on. Oh my God, I didn't even know this. So instead of scamming black people directly, she made a documentary to prove that George Floyd deserved to die. Wow. She recorded a video saying that she did not support protests. She told her, okay, hold on, I'm gonna show you this because I can't lie. She told her phone that the media depiction of Floyd as a martyr for Black America ignored his past criminal record. He stole once, he did drugs, he got into a fight. Something like that, right? Even if he doesn't deserve to die. Like I don't understand the logic here, but I'm gonna go ahead and read through this. Owens is a film star, narrating and playing a role as an interpretive reporter. Blah 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 blah. The lie that he was murdered is proven that he's murdered in like 4 different ways. If you want to watch a video on that, I actually got a video for you. I just watched it yesterday. I'm gonna open up my YouTube. I'm gonna go through my history real quick. Gotcha. Right here. Not this video, but it's actually yeah, is it this guy's channel? In a world where it's the Ben Shapiro is racist video. Sorry, I'll actually like play a clip.
And riots.
This is about BLM.
Wasn't
revised position, that is.
The Minneapolis police chief said
once there was no longer any resistance, and clearly when Mr. Floyd was no longer responsive, to continue to apply that level of force to a person proned out, handcuffed behind their back, that in no way, shape, or form is anything that is by policy, is not part of our training, and it is certainly not part.
The effects are extremely similar. The movement happens around at different times, but obviously the key thing is everything up to the time that we see the hypoxia, the brain injury that's occurring, and where Officer Chauvin moved his knee after that really is not going to have a material impact on the case.
You keep saying science, so show me science, because I don't see science in that video.
The effort to
Ben Shapiro's a racist. He's a grifter, but that's not the point of this video. I was just trying to prove that he was killed. If you want me to watch the whole thing, I'll do it separately. But clearly that was either outside of protocol. The man clearly wasn't resisting, so there was no point to keep his knee on him. That was assessed in the first part of that clip. I don't want to take too much of your time. I'm already like 40 minutes into this. All right. Anyways, back to what I was saying. That's on her, not on her. Basically trying to say that BLM niggas scared us or whatever. So actually, let's go ahead and talk about that. So right here, this guy in summary says, because I read this article, please trust me. If you don't want to trust me, it's fine. I'll go ahead and go through my private DMs with another person. I will have to decide though. And I will try to get my response, specifically my response. All right, so I say that the mansion isn't connected to BLM funds. It was investigated. You can look at here on this story right here, by the way. Or just read it for yourself. Dude, read it and he said like, by the way, BLM made $90 million bare minimum. The $6 million was spent on one mansion, even allegedly. And even then, in that case, those houses, in this one right here, this. Oh wait, is this the right one? Oh wait. Sorry. This is not the source. This is the one I was talking about. Candace Owens. This one right here. So this right here, and the synopsis of this is basically that hey, they did use funds. This right here, but they actually made space for black people. This is true. This is like, go look into it yourself. But they ended up using that property for black people themselves. Even if they use $8 million, that's still like only like maybe a ninth of all the funds from the protests, the movement, and they made billions of dollars allegedly. So like, even if that was the case, they didn't really scam us. And even then, if BLM scammed black people, it still spoke out for black people far more than it did like any other movement from progressive era, anything that a white person has ever done. So the leaders of this movement cannot be held accountable for any scamming they've done if they have literally only done things to benefit us in the long run. But I digress. I literally need to blow my nose though, so I don't know how I'm gonna chop this up. I'm gonna probably do it in 2 parts. Like 2 parts. They're gonna be completely unedited. But maybe 2 parts. But they're gonna go all of them are gonna go today. Because I need to get a video up. I literally need to make some content. I haven't made content in a minute. But anyways, let's go back to this. So let's go back. Where the hell? Okay, type shit. So right here. All right. So she never apologized for slavery. That's when I called her a slavery apologist earlier in the video. Like I said, slavery apologists are not people who apologize for slavery. They're people who defend the concept of it by saying that slavery was a thing that other people did. He even says that it existed globally in the West led its abolition. Well, buddy, chattel slavery was not the most popular form of slavery and wasn't the form of slavery that people in Africa were using. They were using basic servitude. They were making maidens out of their POWs, prisoners of war. So making a maiden out of a POW or making them give you service or anything like that is not the same thing as breeding them on farms and auctioning them off. Let's please understand that treating black people like cattle isn't the same thing as enslaving people. Both are bad, but they're not the same. And chattel slavery treated us like animals. They dehumanized us to get away with it. All right, anyways, we'll go back to it. So boom, bam. I'm trying to figure out what my response was. No, we already read that. No, we already read that. I'm sorry. I got a little distracted, so I'm gonna get back to what I was trying to say. All right, so like right here, when did it get? Oh yeah. When did ALM? All that's matter. He stated to be a supremacist movement. I never said it was. I actually said it was conservative, and he immediately started being an asshole. I already pointed this out. Now, where did I say I was offended? Now, while I am technically offended by the severity of the idiocy being addressed in here, I never actually said I was offended in these messages. I never even gave off the type of shit. I actually just responded to niggas who said something to me. Why do you feel the need to argue with me in defense of a point made by a blonde guy who swears he's black, who's not black, for Candace Owens, a known Trump supporter, a right-leaning misinformation spreading podcaster? We actually just proved that she spreads misinformation. My point, and by the way, in this thing, let's go ahead and just find the word MAGA because that's MAGA. We can go ahead and find the word MAGA. So Kanye said that was a joke, right? And she's basically trying to say that they're friends allegedly, and she's defending this nigga because of course she would, bro. By the way, she wore a White Lives Matter shirt, by the way, just in case you weren't aware. So she actually just doesn't care about black people and wanted to make it seem like that white people are victims again in the country where they enslaved people. But, you know, let me go back to what I was trying to say. Because, of course, none of this will matter in the end because no one's actually going to care about reading or watching this. All right, so let me get to this last point. So let me add to this. The point about slavery is weird to me. I actually do think it's weird. Breeding, assaulting, and auctioning people like cattle isn't the slavery game that was globalized until after it was done in America. Like I said, it was kind of similar to servitude. An analogy for you. If a guy kills your dad, then protest for murder victims, did he still kill your dad? Well, yes. If slave owners did chattel slavery, then suddenly walked back on it after doing, well, walked back meaning they steps back, stopped doing it. They undid it. They made it seem like they didn't do it. Requiring you that it needs to end, did they still do it? Yes. If they fought a war to do slavery, to end slavery, they still started that shit. Stop saying what you're saying is true. With reality, you want to use a black voice, which is Candace Owens, to echo your ideas into the black community. Basically, conservative black people echo the ideas of conservative racists into our community, and they use them as evidence that we should be conservative. when in fact they are just misinformed. Thank you very much. All right, I'm gonna go back to the video. I wasn't actually done recording. Sorry. I know that people's attention span are cooked, so I'm gonna actually have to chop this video up. So I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't gonna hold you. If child, if so mind you, she's not valid. That's all I said in the beginning. That is true. I never said anything else until people asked me until people questioned it. I ain't gonna word it to ask why I thought not, because they didn't actually ask me like a question. 4+ people replied to me arguing about issues about black folks in America rather than ignoring it. While I'm defending myself, I clearly offended people, that includes you, by the way, enough to warrant a response. All right, I'm going to talk about this last thing. This was actually asserting that Cochise was racist in the first video. So you literally don't see any other race asking, do our lives matter to you? By the way, he didn't say ours. He said, do black lives matter? It was a joke, by the way. God forbid a nigga make a racially made joke, right? You said make free speech, bro. Talk about race and shit. But then when black people do it, all of a sudden, no, it's not DC. No, we can't do that. You fucking serious, nigga? Come on now, bro. And then like I don't even want to talk about this, bro. This is my theory. Nigga didn't even make himself a theory. He's just a fucking racist. All right. So what did all that mean? What did all of that mean? That in a vacuum, white people want to feel like they're victims. Darlo Hendricks chased a child around and called him the hardy yard. A Samoan man came up to her and questioned that and put it on video. He got harassed and called and given death threats. He made a video in response to this saying that in America, doing the right thing gets you hate. It's true. Abraham Lincoln got assassinated. JFK got assassinated. Trump didn't, though. Sure, he got attempted, but his cartilage is back allegedly. So if his cartilage is back, mind you, that can grow. It's basically like bone. That's weird. It's perfectly fine. He's an old man. He should have deaccelerated regeneration. I can't say regeneration, it makes it seem like a fantasy concept, but like his body can't actually heal and grow new cells at a regular rate. He's old, right? Right. And I got distracted momentarily, but we'll go back to it. Martin Luther King Jr. shot. He was then discriminated against by the nurses and was not given proper treatment and then died. In America, doing the right thing does get you killed. You protest for the rights of others, you get deported. You have a job that nobody else wants to do, you get deported. When you talk about human rights in any concept, people will become hard hats and beat you to death. This is during Vietnam War protests. Beat you to death and have problems with you. When you do the right thing in America, you get hated. When you are against slavery, you get hated. You're John Quincy Adams, and you're not pro-slavery, you don't get elected again. You don't get elected in the first place if you're Jake Uwe, which is his son, by the way. But you get called a hero, an idol, a great guy, if you're Donald Trump, Andrew Jackson. And then years after your death, and then a couple of years after that, maybe 100 years after your death, people actually start looking back into it and being like, oh no, he was a piece of shit. Then they move past it, as if they haven't been teaching generations of misinformation beforehand. Malcolm X gets called to violent BLM protests are called the wrong thing. But when we talk about Palestinian lives, they're called the wrong thing. People will kill, threaten to kill. They will buy guns and shoot up schools. I go to a school right now. I've had multiple lockdowns because of guns in my school. Most perpetrators by white children. And why do these children feel offended to the point where they have to bring a gun? Because they're being taught that they are the victim in this country. White fragility is the idea that you can't accept that you yourself have guilt, generational guilt, maybe internal guilt of being a racist. And rather than talking about your microaggressions and improving on the character that you are, you will continue to echo racist things that you've heard and tell people that they're in echo chambers and tell people that they're wrong. And that's fucking insane. I talk to these people because I have heart. I want to have a teaching moment. When I pointed out the guy who said that Hitler was right, when he said that, I wanted to say that that's wrong. You got to think about it in a different way. You got to separate Jewish people from Zionists as a concept because it's wrong. And even then, you cannot genocide people. That's not morally correct. Other people would try to say that I, as a black man, think that I should only genocide one person and not the other because they're a color. I don't believe in harming people for no reason. I believe women should have the right of abortion. I believe that you should not defund schools in order to have a platform. And mind you, I actually want to talk about my school. I go to a school that's around my area locally, and I went up to my principal and requested that I give a speech regarding Trump, maybe a 5-minute speech talking about awareness and spreading things that are not ignorance. He declined my offer. I understand. I respect it. I'm not going to argue with it. He declined the offer and told me that I can wait until next year to publish a news article. Mind you, no one reads news. Most of our media is vocal. Most of it is vocal. It's heard. A lot of it is seen. So the fact that she declined that and told me to use a less prominent platform, it hurt a little bit. I wanted to make a point to these people because it's morally wrong to walk around spewing misinformation, and to be misinformed and to be a hateful racist. Both are bad. I would like to teach you while you're wrong. Teach a misinformed person is pretty hard though, because people are taught growing up that they're the victims. Victim mentality isn't the idea that you are unable to face these circumstances that are given to you, allegedly to these conservatives, these racists. It's because they see that you're struggling and you're not okay with that, because they've been taught that you're the problem. They think it's victim mentality because we fixed slavery, so racism must be gone. It's not how it works. Racism is still alive today. People are still being hate crime today. A black man got lynched last year in Chicago. I live near Chicago. He wasn't even in Chicago. He lived in Chicago, a native resident of Chicago. He was doing a truck and driving. He got assassinated, killed, just because he was trying to drive and he was black. My skin color is a crime to these people. The statements that I make, the things that I try to do, the ways I try to speak out, they don't matter to me. I've tried to attempt protest, but I've been silenced by my own mom. Not silenced, but told not to go because it's not safe, and I understand it. I'm black and she's wanted to protect me. I get it. But I have to use my voice somehow, some way. This podcast is one of the only ways I can do it safely without anybody questioning why I'm doing it. My name is Jonathan Hood. I'm a human rights activist, African American, self-proclaimed free thinker. But over all of that, I am a human. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. Truly. I'm gonna split this up into like 4 parts, so you're gonna hear this actually first, and then I will go into the other pieces of evidence after, so that way it is not a problem and it's easy for you to navigate. Understanding like this is kind of context after I've talked about everything, but I'd rather give you the context after I've talked about everything before you get into the actual evidence and meat and potatoes, just in case you really wanted to know what was going on. Once again, thank you for your time. Have a great day.